Hello. Happy Sauna Saturday. I'm hoping you guys can see me clearly. Yes. So, hello. It's fall, y'all. I've been hearing that lots lately. Thank you for joining me today. We've been getting lots of questions, I think for a couple of reasons. Life Pro is ever expanding its amazing lineup of infrared technologies. Some are solely infrared products, some are combination products. Today, we're going to talk about just the specific side of that light therapy infrared saunas, infrared blankets, infrared tools, and I'm going to give you some tips on what might work best for your needs. We're going to talk about some contraindications. We're going to talk about some benefits, and I invite questions. So I want to, I think I've got some of you here. If you are seeing and hearing me, there is a few minute delay for me coming across in social media land, and I'm not seeing myself there yet. So if you are seeing and hearing me, please let me know, and I will get on with my ramble. If you have, just give me 2 secs here, guys. Let me know if you see and hear me on your end. Everything on my end says that you should be. Hello, Christina, or Christine. Sorry, I do that all the time because my sister is Christina. So by default, hello, Sharon. Thank you very much for letting me know, guys. Well, cool. I'm going to continue with my ramblings then. I made colored note sheets today. Nothing is ever black and white, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to understand not only how to use your sauna, but how to progress and best complement whatever the goals are in your household. So just like anything else, if you've watched any of my sessions in the past, it is very much about what you plan to use your technology for. So first and foremost, contraindications of infrared therapies, and I'm going to say light therapies in general. First of all, contraindications are never absolute. Just like there's never a perfect workout for everything, for everybody. Contraindications are an indication that you should be looking into things further, if I wanted to simplify that. So if you are dealing with a medical issue of any kind, if you are under medical care for any reason, and you've never used infrared, you may want to have a conversation with your care provider. Infrared is a very small spectrum of the sun's light, and it's kind of that radiant, that warmth you feel when you get into a vehicle on a chilly day, but a sunny day, and you feel that heat on the inside of the vehicle. That's the heat that you feel wrapping you like a blanket. That's what your infrared is. It is not visible to the human eye, so you will not see the infrared spectrum. If you are using a combination product where you've got some red light incorporated with it or other light colors, the visual lights, you'll notice sometimes on your devices there's different diodes. Some of them look like they're not lighting up, but there looks like there's energy. I don't know how else to describe it. Those are your infrared. So no eyewear required for these devices. And the biggest thing I want to get into today is, how often and how long and that type of thing. But we do need to get through some of the basics first. So if you are dealing with a medical issue, common sense applies. But there are a few contraindications. And contraindications for sure are something that you should discuss with your caregiver. So if you are pregnant or recently have become pregnant, sometimes as a woman, as we gain weight and different symptoms present throughout our pregnancy, the appeal of a sauna and some of the advantages of weight loss as they market them can be, it can give you relaxation and weight loss. Why not? But when you're pregnant, you're thinking for 2 or 3 or 4 perhaps. And, we want to make sure that there are reasons that you should be warming up your body's core temperature. So an infrared sauna heats you below the skin surface. It warms you. It heals you from the inside out to a degree. It really ramps up detoxification. So something else to keep in mind if you are pregnant or nursing, if that's applicable for you. If you are a regular infrared sauna user, just like being active, I always use this when I talk about vibration machines, but if you're conditioned to do something and you've been doing it quite regularly, if you've been a religious user now and you become pregnant, your body to a degree is conditioned to the technology. It's not like you're starting something completely new, but there may need to be modifications. So this is where, even with pregnancy and nursing, it's not a black and white. It really depends on your current level of health and assessing the risks individually with your care provider. If you have cardiovascular issues of any kind, new pacemaker, new heart, you've recently had a condition that has affected your heart. A sauna, if it does anything for anybody, it ramps up the body's circulatory system. It energizes the cells, the mitochondria within the cells. So not only are we delivering through the increase of blood flow, more oxygen and nutrients to those cells, but the cells, the workhorses of those cells, the mitochondria, is performing its function better. So whatever that function may be. So you want to make sure that if you are dealing with cardiovascular issues, that you are absolutely okay to A, increase circulation, and B, increase your core temperature, because those things increase your heart rate. So it's kind of a catch-22. I'm going to say a big yeah, but on the cardiovascular thing. Many of you that are dealing with cardiovascular issues lack the ability to get active and moving. And one of the big appeals of a sauna, infrared saunas, is there's no exertion involved on your part, much like the vibration plates. That's how they can be ideal for cardiovascular health. So you can elevate that heart rate. You can mimic the function of exercise. If you are dealing with heart issues, and plan on using an infrared sauna, because you'll find lots of studies. But as a contraindication, Life Pro is not cardiovascular experts. So you should be speaking with your cardiovascular specialist team, whomever that is, to see if this technology is applicable in your situation. If you're extremely dehydrated, common sense, I hope, but sometimes you don't realize that you're dehydrated. Maybe you're not sweating so much. Maybe you got lots of fatigue. Maybe you see it in the skin. There are signs. So if you're not sure if you're dehydrated, do the water check, do the hydration check. How much do you drink in a day? I think you can probably answer that one yourself. So if you are starting a sauna for the first time, make sure the hydration levels are there. If you hadn't had a glass of water in the last year, don't have a liter just before you get in and expect your body to be able to deliver it to all the systems to improve the functions the sauna is going to require it to do. So make sure that you're hydrated before, during, and after your session. You're sweating, so it's logical. We need to keep those fluids and minerals and nutrient levels proper. If you're taking certain medications, there are some certain medications, again, this is infrared light therapies in general, that may make you more photosensitive, that may elevate your body's temperature or your core temperature, or there's reasons not to do that. Maybe there are detoxification processes or immune issues that are going on that just shouldn't be challenged or exercised right now. So if you are dealing with the effects of medication, or they make you susceptible, again, a discussion to have with your doctor, your pharmacist, your care provider that understands the interaction potentials there. And if you can't sweat, there are people out there, and sometimes it's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean it's a big medical issue, but there are medical issues, anhidrosis and hypohidrosis, where you got to be very careful. If you don't sweat, and we're ramping up or trying to ramp up your body's ability to sweat, guess what? You probably shouldn't be using this technology, again, without checking with your doctor or your specialist first, just to make sure. Nothing is ever a no with me with contraindications. It just means in many cases there might be modifications. So if you are dealing with a condition where you do not sweat, where you overheat easily, where you are not heat tolerant, I've had so many people in my time tell me that they cannot use a sauna. No, I can't do the heat. You know what? You would be surprised with the right conservative approach, how successful you may be in using a sauna. But it might be a 5-minute session. It might be getting in at half temperature and progressing as it warms up. There's all the different kinds of ways that you can modify between the settings, the durations, and your own tolerance to kind of find that vice until you build and get to a point where the tolerance builds. And many of my naysayers that have tried to prove me wrong have had a lot of success using it for some of the conditions I will get to next. So sometimes if you don't think that you can use infrared technology, maybe you just didn't use it effectively for you when you had an opportunity to try it in the past. So those are some of the contraindications. I talked about a few of them. I want to highlight a few more of the benefits. Why would you want to use an infrared sauna? And I just want to make sure I'm not having any technical glitches. I will leave a healthy amount of question time at the end. If I haven't said it 3 times already, it increases circulation and blood flow. So easy way to do that. And of course, increased blood flow, lymphatic movement, all of those things equate to a healthier you. And there's really nobody that's dealing with a symptom of any kind that can't offer benefit to. Some of the sub benefits, so it's all about increasing circulation and blood flow. It's going to relieve pain. It's going to improve your skin tone through that detoxification process that it ramps up. That's kind of what sweat is, people. It's going to lower your oxidative stress, which is, if you read what are the effects of oxidative stress, we could do a 4-hour session alone. But we're all dealing with it, whether it's environmental, mental on our own, physical. There's lots of reasons that oxidative stress occurs. You're stressed out for some reason, physically or mentally. So, obviously, if we can combat some of that oxidative stress, another subcategory is you're going to have a better mood. You're going to feel better about yourself. The depression, the anxiety, all of those symptoms of having oxidative stress. There's a lot of different labels out there, and how that presents on you is going to vary, but it's certainly a very easy, very passive way that most people can deal with. Because why? It forces you to relax. The heat, that circulation, that lymph, it's going to boost recovery, or could be used as a warm-up for the same reason. We'll get into some of the applications here through fitness. So you're going to sleep better. You're probably going to poop better. When the body is mentally and physically under stress, it presents itself in many different ways. And unwinding that, whether you're dealing with mobility issues or not, infrared technologies are a simple way to just set it, forget it. And, I find a lot of people turn to sauna technology because it is a passive therapy. You don't really have to think about it. There's not a whole lot of moves to go with it. But please, if you're a new user, pay attention to being conservative in starting out. So conservative in starting out, what does that mean, Debbie? I think we say too often, go slow. Let's start slow. That means something different to everybody. If you're a marathon runner, what does that mean? As opposed to someone that's just gotten out of a hospital bed, that's been in the hospital for 6 to 8 months. So you need to outline your goals. There's all these awesome benefits, and all your friends are using this technology, and this time of year it's getting chillier in certain parts of the world, like where I am. So we tend to start using these technologies more frequently. There's 3 kind of subcategories I always talk about with goals. One of them is symptom management. Things hurt or things aren't working right. It's hard to get to the other goals. So the most immediate and important goal is symptom management. If you are dealing with swelling, aches and pains, arthritis, poor mobility, poor balance, poor whatever, it's a good way to start preparing your body for what else you'd like to do. But it's going to manage the pain. It's going to reduce the tension, the stress, the swelling. It's going to improve the skin conditions, be it internal or external. I say external, the psoriasis, the skin redness, the skin tone, the detoxification, and just under the skin surface where those lymphatic vessels lie. A little bit deeper where infrared goes into that muscular tension. It's going to boost the swelling, reduce it where needed. It's going to aid in recovery. It's going to boost that lactic acid flush. And all of this equates to better sleep. When you're sleeping better, everything you do throughout the course of the day is when your body applies it. So if you're not getting good sleep, it doesn't matter what all this therapy is that you're doing during the day, your body needs its sleep. So I as a caution, if I don't say this later on, if you are a new user, don't have a lot of plans the first day. You tend to be a little lethargic, a little pooped out, for lots of different reasons. But the first few sessions, try doing it later in your day so you can just relax, chill. Very often you might just want to go to sleep. So the first type of goals, as I said, are symptom management. The next is fitness gains. So fitness gains, as I briefly mentioned earlier, really great way to warm up for my vibration plate users. If you're using the bike, the treadmills, and you want to kind of, I hate to use this word, but it's a bit of a cardio cheat. If you use your sauna before your vibration plate workout or other things, you're already warmed up. The core temperature has been raised. You're huffing and puffing without any impact or stress to those joints or other issues. So it's a good way. You'll poop out a lot faster in your workout. It's you don't necessarily have to do a half-hour session, but for the same reasons I already mentioned and the same reasons it's good for a warm-up, it's also awesome as a recovery tool. So for my athletes, the sooner you can recover and expedite that recovery, the more you can get back to training. So if you're conditioning for something, you got limited time frames and the clock's not working for you, infrared technology, whether it be total body or localized, which we'll talk about in a bit, totally a game changer. If you're not using a sauna already, you must be living on the moon. There are a lot of facilities out there. Infrared technology is probably one of the oldest, most commonly known modalities, and they've been at gyms for a very, very long time. And then just, of course, the last set of goals is because it just feels good and it makes you feel better. Infrared technology is going to boost your overall health and wellness in many ways. We already talked about relaxation. We can all probably use a little bit of that. Going to reduce the stress levels, the oxidative stress, and all the symptoms mentally and physically that presents. For those of you that like to meditate or should be more often, I'm not, I'm a little high energy, so I'm not the best at kind of just chilling and doing simple breathing exercises or focused exercises. I find a sauna is a really good catalyst for me to get to that point. And when I'm going to talk a little bit more about first session tips, but one of the things, if I haven't been doing my saunas for some time and I'm resuming, when you're resuming or just getting back to using your sauna, maybe it's a seasonal thing. It's very much like being a new user. Your body hasn't been using it regularly, so you want to become accustomed to it again. But one of the big things that I like to make sure is I set a timer or an alarm. I have a big tendency, especially if I'm doing the dome or one of the blanket styles, because you're all snuggled in nice and cozy. I fall asleep, and when I fall asleep hard. So sometimes I'll wake up an hour or two later and in a fog. So that's just a very first or second session tip. If you have a tendency to fall asleep, have an alarm set. I like to set my oven on my timer, or my timer on my oven, and then I physically have to get up to shut it off. Okay, so those were some of the goals. I'm going to put some of these into notes afterwards as well. So first session tips. I'm going to first get into, I got my slides out of order. So this is a new activity. A lot of times we don't think of new therapies as an activity, but we're doing something different to our body and we're expecting it to react in some way or fashion. So just like anything else, don't try a whole bunch of different things at once. If you have success with something or you have a setback and overdo something, it becomes hard to troubleshoot. So if you are going to start your infrared technology, start a consistent pattern and be conservative. Don't go for max time and max setting just because the buttons allow you to. It's a very common thing we're very tempted to do. It takes a little bit of time to heat up, so be patient. If you don't have good heat tolerance, as I said, maybe get in mid-temperature. I wouldn't start at max. 120, 115 is a nice starting point. If you're wearing clothing is another good starting tip. I like to wear light cotton, like tank, organic fabrics, maybe some hemp, linens, things like that are going to allow your body to breathe and absorb. I like to lay on a large towel, and then I have a sweat towel on the side, which I have the cool Life Pro towel I meant to bring for display today. But I have a towel because if you do break the sweat, and once you start using your sauna regularly, you know what I mean, and it just turns on right away, you'll appreciate having something within arm's reach. Have something within arm's reach. That's my next big tip. Have some water handy. I like to have tunes. Okay, so this is my handy dandy little old school radio. It can play MP3s. I try to minimize. I am sensitive to electronics and those types of devices, so I minimize. I like to take the good frequencies and the good healing that the sauna generates, and leave my phone and my Bluetooth speakers, and I minimize other things. So if you're asking EMF type questions, if you're sensitive to EMFs, if you make an effort to wire your devices when you're using them regularly like I do, this is a very short, very purposeful session. It's very often the accumulation of devices. So you've got your sauna and your phone going, and you got all your connected speakers going, and the kids have the TV going, and things seem smart, but sometimes if you've got several devices going, whether they're any one of them are an issue or not, it's the accumulation of all of these devices. So allow your body the time to focus on this technology, and your mind for the distractions. Like I say, have a little bit of tunes, but don't have a million things going on around you. I've been using the hat. I don't know if you've seen the sauna hat. I always find I'm hot on the top of my head, and my forehead is sweating, and I like the lay down in the blanket style because your head can be out. It's a little different than the box. For my heat lovers, nothing beats the box style sauna. But the tube, for those of you that do have heat tolerance issues, or perhaps you're a little bit claustrophobic, that can be an issue sometimes. It's nice having your hair out, breathing the ambient air, the room that you're used to. But a lot of the heat escapes through your head, which initially you would think is a good thing, but your body's working harder to regulate your body temperature. So wearing, again, this is an organic wool cap. Wool is a great fabric. I don't like wool so much for my body, but it's this thing's very durable, very inexpensive, so that's a good little tip. Or a cotton cap or toque, something of that. Just put that on, and I think you'll find it is a game changer for your lay down sessions. So again, start conservatively, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. See how you feel. You can always do another session the next day, or extend your session the next time that you do it. I would rather you be conservative and wish you had done more than overdo it and be so lethargic and drinking 2 liters of water for the next part of the evening because you overdid it. And keep that in mind with where your current health is. So, everyone is starting physically in a different place. If I were to line all of you watching today up and ask, how long can each of you run before you have to stop? It's never going to be the same answer. We're all going to be different based on our conditioning and what hurts and, just what our body's able to tolerate. Same goes for the sauna or any of your other therapies that you might be starting off again. Temperature. What is the optimal temperature for using your infrared technologies? There's lots of studies out there. There's lots of marketing out there. But, what is the best temperature for you when you're out in the sun? What your individual tolerance is going to be different for everyone. I used to love laying in the sun in 30, 35 degrees Celsius. I'm not so good at the Fahrenheit. But now, 22, 25 is plenty. I prefer to be outdoors a little bit longer and in less intense heat. So for me with my saunas, same kind of thing. I prefer a longer session. I can't tolerate the heat as long as I did in my youth. I'm 50-ish and a bit. So for those of you, sometimes it's an age thing. Sometimes it's a conditioning. Sometimes it's a health thing. What you can tolerate is very much going to mimic what you can now. If you're not a good heat person or you're not so sure, start conservatively. Try it for a few sessions. If you're not breaking a sweat right off the bat, don't freak out. Sometimes it takes a session or two for your body to get used to it. And then you'll notice it's more of a regular thing. If you're feeling too hot, push the cover back, open your blanket up a little bit. Make sure you're drinking throughout your session. End it early. There is no black or white. How long you should go if you're dealing with medical issues. A lot of my clients are 10, 15 minutes using it more often versus a big long session, every other day or every 3 days. I think it really, really depends on the goals and how you hope to complement them. So how often you use yours and what the temperature are is a tolerance thing. But like I say, it's going to be in complement to your goals and your current conditioning levels. And then again, make sure you're hydrated if I haven't said that enough already. So session tips, I kind of touched a little bit here. I line this with a big towel. Right now, I'm sitting on a camp mat that I've got the infradome model on. I've got the more robust sauna blanket. There's lots of different ones. Why would I use which one for what? There's going to be, obviously, budget, guys, comes right into it. You're not going to get the quality and the luxury of the infradome in the most inexpensive blanket. Are you getting the same type of technology and healing experience? In a lot of ways, in my experience, you can studies, you can look at research and articles all day long, and some say yes, some say no. It's really something you're going to have to experiment and define for yourself. I love the experience of laying down in the dome or the larger sauna. I like the heaviness. I like feeling enclosed in hugs. Some of my clients, regardless of budget, what budget may allow, they prefer the sauna blankets where they've got the armholes. Maybe they've got kids and they need to be ready to go. And so I want you to not only take your budget and what you can afford. It's not always about buying the best. Think practical. Where are you going to use it? How often are you going to use it? Do you have space to store it? Is it something you want to be able to take with you? Maybe you travel a lot. Combinations. This is the perfect thing about LifePro and their variety and their spectrum of products. I love this as an everyday, I've got a place to put it model. If money were no object, everybody should have the dome or the box. It is the ultimate total body experience. But the bag models, the blanket styles, you can take them with you. Maybe you lack space and you can only do a session laying on your couch or on your bed, and then you have to tuck it away. So these are things to take into consideration. If you are elderly or frail or just lack upper body strength or are dealing with issues, the lighter blankets are more manageable. The Velcro on these are amazing and very well built. And my hubby really enjoys this style, but sometimes some of my clients find it's too robust. They're not strong enough. So maybe the zipper style with the blanket. That's why there's all these options, not because we want to make your choice difficult, but you really got to sit down and think about what are you personally going to be using it for. And the next one up is, of course, is it for more than one person? Who else is going to be using this in the home? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be the kids? Yes, kids are fine to use infrared saunas for the same reason they're fine to exercise and use vibration machines. But how they use it may be different than you. Probably not as high a temperature. Probably not as long. My kids are conditioning for big marathons or anything, but they do get aches and pains. They get growing pains. They overdo it in sports sometimes. And it's just that time of year where we're in the vitamin D deficiency season when the colds and the flus are wrapping up. And this is a great way to not only wrap up detoxification from those environmental issues, the foods, but it's also a great way to help our body's immune system get that boost it needs for this time of year. What else? Again, I said water and reach. You want to have tunes. And again, if it's your first session, don't have big plans because you're going to be pretty lethargic when you're done. I've covered the types to a degree. The biggest thing, regardless of what model you select, I really want you to put some thought into what's going to fit into your lifestyle. And if budget is a constraint, please don't be pushed away by claims of less effectiveness or higher EMFs or poor quality. That there's a lot of infrared technologies out there. Some are of better quality than others. Some are more expensive than others. But, this isn't something that you're intended to be in 7 to 8 to 12 hours a day. So, be responsible in your use. I would say limit yourself to a half hour to an hour max once you've really gotten conditioned to it. And if you are sensitive to anything, minimize not only your external factors, your devices, but maybe, don't overdo everything. If you've got other therapies, combining them is a great way to ramp up the results. But as I said, introduce one at a time. Don't start 10 things all at once just because you're not feeling yourself. This is a great complement to your exercises. But again, modify and adapt how long those sessions are and what temperature based on what else you might be doing in complement that day. Don't deplete yourself is I guess, my big message. And then last but not least, under selecting types, we kind of talked about whole body applications. if you're looking at infrared technology because you've got a chronic condition, I couldn't possibly bring all of the infrared toys that Life Pro offers on camera today. But I wanted to bring and highlight a couple of smaller examples that I'm sure a few of you have or are more familiar with. If you have a chronic condition and you find that it's been alleviated by using a sauna in the past, or budget is limited and it'd be nice to have the whole body experience, but the issue is really that bad shoulder or the wrist or the ankle. Outside of the infrared technologies in the full body saunas, many of the light therapies offer infrared as a option. So they may have red light, but the Aliva glove is an example. The knee wrap, the foot wrap, the belts. There's all kinds of examples you could do to treat that chronic area more effectively. If weight loss or something else is the goal, I do recommend a larger product, maybe one of the panels, one of the blankets. But again, for chronic issues, those arthritic hands, the shoulder, a good complement or a good starting point, maybe a smaller device that helps you kind of mitigate and deal with that chronic issue. And if things work out well for you, then it gives you confidence moving forward to make the investment on a bigger product. But you still have the smaller one for the maintenance piece, the specific chronic issue. You tend to be more diligent sometimes with the little stuff than with the big stuff. So that is my spiel. The very last thing I want to cover that does come up from time to time: can I use my sauna and my belt, or can I use my face mask and my infrared glove or my torch at the same time? A lot of this isn't about overdoing it. It's about understanding and establishing for you personally what those tolerance levels are, where you need to be. And if you're finding after the first 3-4 sessions, you're just so drained all the time, that's the best indication that I can give you that you're probably overdoing it. So if you're starting infrared technology for the first time, 30 minutes to an hour per day is a good starting point. If you're looking at combining technologies, it's hard for me to put a number on that because I'm very logical and functional in my train of thought and my training. How long are you allowed to be outside working in the yard? You're being exposed to infrared and red and all the spectrum there. Maybe you get sunburned, maybe you don't. So again, it's a different kind of thing. It's more amplified than the effects you're going to be seeing outdoor and more goal driven in what you're doing. You're using it for weight loss, those types of things. Weight loss is one I just want to expand on maybe a little bit, and then I'm going to get to questions. Yes, absolutely. That's probably one of the number reasons many of you are considering the full body saunas or the localized waist areas. Infrared is great for raising your core body temperature. So of course it's going to be great for weight loss, but what's even better for weight loss is what else are you doing besides the sauna? You may notice some short-term effects with anything that you try, but good nutrition, physical activity, a sauna is a great way if you're dealing with chronic issues or just terribly inactive, dealing with issues where you can't get very mobile. It's a good starting point to get you there and help burn the calories, but I wouldn't just do the sauna forever. If you're looking at losing substantial, 100 plus pounds, there's going to be other things that need to become, it's a process. It's not any one thing. I'm going to grab my beverage because I need to stay hydrated, as I mentioned, and I want to see if you guys have any questions for me about your infrared stuff. Pat has that and loves it. I'm wondering what that is. There's a few things here. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Christine. If anyone else is joining me, please say hello. Let me know where you're from. As I said, it is fall, y'all. It is the last day of September. I can't believe where the summer went, let alone September. Pat has their Rejuvenex. The blanket. I think I'm getting the name wrong there. But for Pat and anyone else that is using any of Life Pro's infrareds, it's kind of a no-brainer. Infrared, like I say, has been around longer than most therapies, whether you realize it or not. It's, when babies are born prematurely, that's what the incubators are. They're little infrared emitters and heaters in there. They're not the same type as this thing. I wouldn't put your newborn in your sauna. That is an article that I read this morning, but there are exceptions. There are healers and caregivers and doctors out there that incorporate these technologies in their everyday care for you, whether it's in the system or in the alternative world. If you have been shied away from infrared because you don't have heat tolerance, because you had a bad, poor first experience, like anything, I always preach, it's very often your approach, and there's no right or wrong. There's no perfect trainer out there. If you were to walk into a gym and hire 5 different trainers, you're going to get 5 different approaches on how to get from point A to B with your goals. The same with a sauna. Your body's unique. You're special in your own ways. And if you are dealing with health concerns, it took your body some time to get to this point. So logically, it's going to take some time to reverse and improve the function of your body, your cells, everything right down to the cellular level. So be patient with the results. Because of the detoxification, because of the relaxation, it's not uncommon to feel a little ill after any new activity, because we're stirring things up and detoxifying. All the more reason to make sure that you're supporting your body with nutritional and mineral support, proper hydration. You're not sick, but as your body's taking out the trash, this is just some of the symptoms that present. Please don't give up on yourself because you had a day or two where you felt under the weather. It probably took you 40 or 50 years to get to this point. So push through, give it the support that it needs. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this today or on a recorded basis, as always, I invite you to please tag at Debbie with a Y if you have any questions, if you are dealing with something specific, or you've got, it's not uncommon to get mixed information. One person says A, one person says B, because there is no definitive path. And a lot of times we just need a little help identifying the goals. Well, Debbie, of course I want to lose weight, but I can't stand on my knee more than 30 seconds. So how can I do that? If that was me, 15, 20 years ago, so I had to deal with the knee short term before I could do the things that I needed to do to lose the bum and everything else. So keep in mind, it is a process. And as you improve your situation through these amazing infrared technologies, you will be able to progress not only in your use of the infrared products, but likely there'll be a ripple effect as your body improves. You're going to be able to do other things more effectively and live your best life. So if there's no questions, you guys know everything. Thank you. I appreciate you joining me today. I hope to get you a little bit motivated. I would love to do a sauna. It looks like we're getting frost here this evening. So I'm going to be spending some time salvaging what herbs are left in my yard and preparing for the colder temperatures. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday. I won't be here on Monday. I will see you next Friday for one of my favorite annual sessions. It's World Cerebral Palsy Day. Please tell everybody you know, whether they have cerebral palsy or not. I talk about a lot of special needs, some tips. I have a huge support group dedicated specifically to cerebral palsy and related conditions and symptoms using vibration equipment. So next Friday, I will see you October the 6th for that special session. And I thank you all for joining me today. Christine, Pat, Sharon, and I don't know if there's someone else here. Have a great rest of your day. Don't work too hard and get using your saunas. Rejuva-Wrap, I have that one too. It's on loan. I don't have my one with the finger arms today, but you're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. You guys have a great rest of the day.